Dozens of countries, hundreds of cities, millions of people. One man, now in the palm of your hand, on any device. For over 60 years, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has dedicated his life to spreading the message of freedom, justice, and equality to people all over the world. Log in to NFA Studios and get unlimited access to a vast library of his life's work, plus never released lectures, interviews, and exclusive content. With new releases every week, NFA Studios is your one-stop destination for spiritual and mental upliftment. And now, introducing NFA Original Content, featuring shows such as Dinner with the Minister, How to Eat to Live Cooking Show, 40 Miles the Series.
In this series, we're going to look at the history of the Nation of Islam,
Food Nation, and much more. The wait is over. Welcome to the evolution. Welcome to NFA Studios.
Through NFA, our own platform, the people will be able to meet the minister, see the minister, experience the minister. The teaching is there, and it will resist now because it's the truth. It can't be bent. This is the platform. So may Allah bless NFA. May Allah bless all those who would work on behalf of the vision, and let the vision continue to expand.
Never fall again. Never fall again.
Welcome to the Foodie Spot. My name is Sister Carmela Muhammad, and we are a proud sponsor of Doing the Math with Dr. Wesley. I come to you in preparation for possible hard times. We've been told to store food in our home by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, so you can also come to the Foodie Spot and get your navy bean soup, vegetable medley soup, and lentil bean soup, pressure cooked canned. In addition to that, I have dried navy beans. We also have frozen dinners prepared that you can actually store it in your freezer for those times. Pull them out, warm them up, cook them. We also have our natural antibiotic, which consists of fresh ginger root, turmeric root, garlic, and horseradish. We are also shipping our natural antibiotics in addition to our navy beans, red lentil, vegetable medley, and bean pies. For shipping, call 773-420-3948. Again, for shipping, call 773-420-3948. Thank you and enjoy the show.
All right, y'all come on in. Let me text the link out. Let me know where y'all from in the comment section. Let me know where you're from in the comment section. So I'm not seeing it yet on YouTube. Okay, there you go. Cool. All right, if y'all can hear me and see me, let me know what city you're tuning in from. If you can hear me and see me, let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay, so we see Georgia, Atlanta, Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay, we live. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to the Brother Ben X podcast. Today we got a special guest. Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and as you guys can see on the title, we're going to be discussing chasing the bag versus making money righteously. I think this is a very important topic. I've been dealing with this topic for many years now, but during this pandemic, and some would say a recession, many are focused on making money and increasing their finances and things of that nature. But what we want to make sure is that we don't do it the wrong way. Vain, we dealt with this podcast last week. Sister Heckova, or maybe 2 weeks ago, Sister Heckova Mecca was talking about how she was battling, making money with her gift versus not promoting her gift due to vain reasons. And Dr. Wesley, as I found out also a couple weeks ago, dealt with chasing the bag. Student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, great counsel, member of the Nation of Islam. He also has several books out. When it comes to the black man being God, if anybody have any disputes about that, if anybody have or want research about that, he has several books. I actually just picked me one up yesterday on Master Farah Muhammad, who he is, who he's not, from the Pan-African store. So when it comes to scholarship, and I think I heard him say, I don't know if you called it the gorilla, but the 800-pound, the 800-page book. Man, if y'all love to read and you love that research and you love footnotes, that's definitely the book that you want to get. But Dr. West, if you want to introduce yourself, let us know your take on the topic and kind of how you came about with the lecture that you had a couple weeks ago about getting to the bag or chasing the bag, and then we can go into dialogue from there.
Yes, sir. First, in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, I bear witness there is no God but He. I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is His living and exalted Christ. I further bear witness that the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan is the divine reminder, apostle, and absolutely Jesus that most of us have been reading about all of our life, was not aware that He has been in our midst all of this time. In their names I greet you, my dear brother Ben, and your audience. Assalamu alaikum. I'm honored to be back on your platform. You are a great helper in the cause of Islam. You are a great helper of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. So any opportunity that presents itself to chop it up with my brother, to share, to exchange, to dialogue with my brother, I'm always honored to do so. It is not, dear brother Ben, that my lecture was on the subject, this particular subject. My lecture was entitled When All Else Fails. Now, those of us who are members of the Nation of Islam know how that phrase concludes. When all else fails, Islam. And all else has failed the black man and woman today. And that was what the lecture pieced apart, if you will, in the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. However, at the end of it, I made a couple of remarks on the subject relevant to our discussion today. And I did extract those remarks from the full lecture and make them available as a clip. And I believe I titled the clip Chasing the Bag, ? Now, from what I was given to believe, my comments generated some confusion with a number of believers. It raised a question in their mind. And God is not the author of confusion. And so if our words are the cause of confusion, if my words are the cause of confusion, I'm happy to take the opportunity to try to unconfuse the situation. I get that the question came in some believers' mind, which is a legitimate question. Brother Wesley, how does your critique of chasing the bag relate to Allah's promise to us that we, the believers, will have luxury, money, friendships in all walks, good homes and friendship in all walks of life? How do the two relate to each other? And how, Brother Wesley, does your critique of one not amount to a critique or denial of the other? That is not an illegitimate question. So I'm happy to be able to try to unconfuse the situation on your great platform, Brother Ben.
Yes, sir. I wanna start off with, it's been a thing really for many years. When people begin to make money, and we live in America, and money is needed, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, do for self. I believe in one of the Muhammad speaks, he talked about Master Father Muhammad want us to have money, and we hear the minister say he want us to have the best that the enemy makes. But it's almost like when you're speaking about God, or you have a religion, whatever the case may be, it's almost like it's looked down upon. The moment you begin to talk about money, it's shown as if because you speak about God, you, I don't know, supposed to be modest or not have a lot of money. So it's not always synonymous. It's almost like the opposite. And there was a brother years ago, which is why I say I've been dealing with this years ago. They tried to deceptively use the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's words, which I guess I'll start here. Since you come from that 5% background, poor righteous teacher. So the brother tried to make it seem like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he was saying poor righteous teacher, that we're supposed to literally be poor, not have a lot of money. So can you clarify that, and bring some context to that?
Yes, inshallah. The problem that you articulated, or the problem undergirding the problem you articulated, is that Christianity has become the template for religion in most people's mind. And so, because Christianity is known for its monasteries, where the most holy ones of the Christian tradition are those who have taken a vow of poverty, those who have taken a vow of chastity and celibacy. In old world Islam, the saints, the mystics, those who were deemed the holiest representatives of the religion, happen to have been those who were noted for extreme self-deprivation. And so the old world way of doing religion is what the world thinks is the right way to do religion. In Islam, especially the new Islam, the Islam as brought by Master Fard Muhammad and taught to us by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and represented, elucidated, and personified by the honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. In this Islam, there is no monastery, no monasticism. We don't do religion like that. And so when we read the hadith that in which the prophet says Allah is beautiful and he loves beauty. The Arabic translated beautiful means carnal, physical beauty. Allah is very wealthy. And in true religion, success on the ground, collectively, personally, is right to be taken when that success results from righteous acts versus success produced by corruption. We'll talk about that. But success that comes as a fruit of righteous deeds, that is a sign of Allah's blessing. And so there is no monasticism in this Islam. The Nation of Islam is the vanguard. And we in the Nation of Islam are the vanguard group of human beings. Vanguard among Black people and vanguard to the world. So what that means, Brother Ben, when our people see us, the vanguard, we want them to see us excelling in everything we do. We want them to see us excelling in life. We want them to see us using our mathematical formula, our mathematical theology to secure benefits for ourselves. So why I believe you are such a great representative of this Islam. Your success is a boon to the Nation of Islam. We want the people to ask, what makes Brother Ben so individually successful? And we want them to come to the answer that Brother Ben has a particular secret. He does. What is Brother Ben's secret that makes him so successful, such that I want to be successful like him? Brother Ben's success is not, or Brother Ben's secret, it's not digital real estate, though he is gifted. Brother Ben's secret is not, or his formula is not cryptocurrency, but he is successful. Brother Ben's secret is a mathematical theology that he's applying. And so we want the people who want your success, want to come to the conclusion that they want to know about and use your mathematical theology. And what is the mathematical theology? That it's the source of your success. You said it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, do for self. So you following the mathematical theology, Islam, your success helps make the case, and all of us who are successful in the name of Islam makes the case of our vanguard position among the people. So we have the formula. So every success that we can point to, and that includes success in this life and in the next. So poor righteous teacher. Allah don't want us poor. That's not, as I understand from the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Poor in that degree or that lesson didn't mean that we were povertous materially. That's not Allah's promise to us. We may have come to him poor, and most of us did. But social scientists who studied the Nation of Islam noted how poor people became more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable. Not, though, because they were chasing the bag. That's very different. Chasing the bag and achieving the promise of Allah are two very different pursuits with two very different motivations, which will inevitably produce two very different outcomes. Even if both outcomes end with a bag, the bag that results from the promise of Allah fulfilled, and the promise that results from chasing the bag are very different bags. And the individuals with them are very different at the end. So you should not be condemned or criticized for being successful in the name of Islam. Poverty is the way of old religion. It's not the way of the new Islam.
Yes, sir. That takes me to my next question. I'm pretty sure many believers would like to hear you answer it as well. Many on Facebook and some have DM'd me about they thought we had to separate the teachings from making money. You know, how do I they would how would I separate? I want to, I have a business, whether if it's real estate or content marketing, or I create physical things. Like, how do I separate and do Islam but also do money at the same time, and not get too not overdo it to where I am maybe vain, or I'm doing it in a manner to where I'm using it incorrectly? Because the problem 13 says, it does say use it, but when they don't want to incorrectly use it. So can you kind of speak to those who kind of been stuck there, not wanting to push on social media money because they're pushing the teachings?
Yeah, you don't want to push money. We want to have money. We, as Muslims, don't want to push money, especially not today. I believe I saw a recent clip, a great clip of yours, Brother Ben, about verb subject agreement, that great teaching of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, which I believe you represented very well. And that's very critical to this discussion. We have to have verb and subject agreement. Our thinking and our action has to be in accord with the time that we live in right now. What time do we live in right now? The Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, after the pestilence from heaven descended to the earth, March 2020, the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan announced that the pestilence was stage 1, and it will be followed by famine. And so the time in which we are in right now is not a time of feasting. It's a time of famine. And so, being that the time that we are in is a time of famine, we have to be very careful inspiring ambitions of feasting. To inspire ambitions of feasting in a time of famine, we are not having verb or subject agreement. And so we say, well, I got to eat. Now, of course, we don't mean physically eating. We mean getting money so we can eat. We can consume as consumers, consume the best that this world has to offer. And that is Allah's promise to us. But time dictates agenda. In a time of famine, ain't going to be much eating. So what is necessary today in a time of famine, if we are having verb and subject agreement, We want to teach our people how to fast. Because when food is restricted, when we're in a time of famine, the so-called Negro, who's all consumed or concerned with eating, I gotta eat, and he and she eats 3 meals a day and snacks in between. And I'm not just talking about food. When the Negro is used to 3 meals a day and snacks in between, when famine hits them, and it is here now, and they don't know how to fast from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but also fast from Gucci, fast from Louis, fast from the Maybach, fast from the opulence that this world holds out to us. As much as we have to learn how to fast from physical food, we have to learn how to fast from the opulence in the world that is dangled in front of our face, because we are in a time of famine right now. And the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan says this: Satan wants to get us through our unfulfilled desires. So if we create in the people a desire for opulent food in a time of famine, and we know that those desires will be unfulfilled for so many, then we've created unfulfilled desires in our people that Satan can come in and get us. So it is not that getting money should be separated from the teaching, but we got to put it all in perspective. The Honorable Elijah, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, same. The Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan said, quote, "Your goal should not be money." That's the difference between chasing the bad culture and the promise of Allah. They are very distinct, and the distinction is not in the bag itself. The distinction is in what we are seeking. Chasing the bag culture accommodates and even encourages corruption, both institutionally and individually. So, I don't know, this is a little before your time, maybe. MC Breed and Tupac, I Gotta Get Mine, You Gotta Get Yours. You know that song?
Yeah, I think I heard of it.
Pac says, got my mind on my money, money on my mind. And he says, whether it's rhyme or crime, I gotta get mine. See? That's the principle that undergirds chasing the bad culture. Whether it's rhyme or crime, I gotta get mine. Because the object is the money. So by hook or by crook, I gotta get it. In contrast, the promise of Allah, luxury, money, good homes, friendships in all walks of life. The promise of Allah neither countenances, accommodates, or tolerates corruption in pursuit of money or in securing benefit for ourselves. So the object can't be money, because if the object is, and let's define what we mean by money. Because all of us have to live in a material world. Money is not necessarily wealth. Money is a given. This is why in our lessons advocate a socialist politic for us. We are not capitalists. So the basic needs of every human being is non-negotiable. And every human being has the right to have all that we need to live and live comfortably, even to the point where the community and the government has a duty to make sure that every human being has the necessities of life. And money requires that. But wealth is the promise. But wealth comes as a result of something. In Islam, we can't seek wealth. We seek righteousness and the resurrection of the dead. And by seeking what Allah has given us to do and to be, by seeking that, Allah promised us He will reward our effort. But we are not to seek the wealth of this world. We're not to seek it, not us Muslims. That's why I said chasing the bag. I didn't criticize the bag. My critique is chasing the bag culture.
So in the Bible it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all of his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when he was breaking down this in 1998, speaking on the not the still away method, but he was speaking about economics and making money. He mentioned this, seek ye first. He said, don't get it twisted. Yeah, he mentioned money first and, luxury first, but seek ye first the kingdom. Now that's the Bible. But he also says directly from the minister, he says money will come with true service. But when money is the focal point, it robs you of the real spirit that God wants you to have that will make you successful in all you do. So we've heard these things. We read it in the Bible, seek ye first and all these things. So now my question is, what does that look like? We've heard the coin is in the fish's mouth. So what does that look like? Because somebody may be confused and say, well, if I got a business, do I not charge this person? Do I give to this person and hope that he gives something back? We say that Allah's going to reward us. What does that look like so we can have context?
Very, very great. Now, that quote from Matthew, let's start there. Because many of us, we quote it, but without real reflection. Matthew 6, from which that particular quote comes, is very important. The whole chapter. The whole chapter can be seen. I describe Matthew 6 as a critique of peacocking. You heard me talk about peacocking. Allah doesn't peacock. What do I mean? So Matthew 6 starts, take heed that you do not do your alms before men to be seen of men. Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. He says, therefore, when thou doest thy alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogue and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily, I say unto you, they have their reward. So Jesus starts by condemning those hypocrites who do a good work, alms giving, but they do it in a way to be seen of men, to get glory of men. Then he goes down the list. Though he condemns those who pray in a way to be seen and heard of men, where Jesus says, go in the closet and pray in secret. God hears you there. He condemns those who fast in a way to be seen of men. See, this is peacocking. We do right for the wrong reason. We do it to be seen of men, and when we do that, even though the act may be approved by God, the reason for our doing the act makes us a hypocrite. So, Jesus condemns all this peacocking. And then listen, he says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and Mammon. Who is Mammon? Mammon means wealth. In particular, in this case, Mammon is coveting the wealth of this world. Mammon is also the God who offers the promise of the wealth of this world. So Jesus says we can't serve God and also serve coveting, also be covetous of the wealth of this world. That's very important, Brother Ben. Coveting the wealth of this world is not appropriate in this walk. That's mammon. Then he says this, get into the quote you lifted from the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. Listen. Jesus says, therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall I eat? What shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed? Jesus said, don't worry, don't ask, what am I going to eat? I need money. I got to eat. I got to drink. I got to have clothes. Listen to it. He says, for after all these things do the Gentiles seek. That's the operative point. The Gentiles seek what they're going to eat, what we're going to drink, what we will be clothed. For your heavenly Father said, your Father knows that you need all of those things. God knows we got to eat, we got to drink, we got to have clothes. So then Jesus says, in contrast to the Gentiles who seek this, you seek the kingdom of God. See, the problem ain't the bag. The problem is the seeking of it. That's what puts us in error. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. See, if we are, and this is the important thing, and his righteousness. Our aim should not be getting the bag. Our aim must be the righteousness of God, meaning being ourself, God. Now, being ourself, seeking God's righteousness, is a particular lifestyle that got a lot of do's and don'ts. That's the lifestyle of the Nation of Islam. And so much of our lifestyle cannot accommodate the things that this world offers to us as ways to get the bag. So if our aim is the bag, if our aim is mammon, the wealth of this world, then we are going to do that which contradicts our duty as members of the Nation of Islam. It's the seeking of the bag that is the problem. We at the Executive Council, Brother Ben, This is the governing body of the Nation of Islam. In every government structure around this world, in every nation, the government structures of nations, the signature of them all is corruption. The signature of all of the governments of the world is corruption. And so here we are, the government of the Nation of Islam installed by the Messiah. And he says to us and to you and all of us, your aim should not be money. That's how governments and government officials are corrupted, because our aim is money and not the service of the people. So I'm confined to the labor. As a laborer, I'm confined to the labor. You said you want to know what it looks like. Allow me to give illustrations of what it doesn't look like. Can I do that? And we can infer from there?
Yes, sir.
I think somebody mentioned Muhammad Ali in this conversation. I think Muhammad Ali is a great example for this conversation. He's a great example of what not to be, of what not to do. Muhammad Ali, he had a Rolls Royce. Muhammad Ali, he had beautiful women, sometimes at the same time. And then Muhammad Ali lost favor with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he lost his name. The honorable Elijah Muhammad returned him to Cassius Clay. Why did the most honorable Elijah Muhammad return Muhammad Ali to Cassius Clay? Well, he's very clear, the honorable Elijah Muhammad. He says, Muhammad speaks, we tell the world we're not with Muhammad Ali. Why, Mr. Muhammad, are you not with Muhammad Ali? This is April 1969. He says, I want the world to know that Muhammad Ali has stepped down off the spiritual platform of Islam to go out and see if he can make money in the sport world. The first reason Allah, God, came to us is to give us money. This is the first. He says, this is the first of Allah's promise. The first reason Allah, God, came to us is to give us money. This is the first of Allah's promise. He says, we the Muslims are not with Mr. Muhammad Ali in his desire to work in the sports world for the sake of a little money. He says further, most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because, you know, when Muhammad Ali, he was a great soldier for Islam, especially while he was banned from boxing. He was banned from boxing for 3 years, while his case over being a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War was litigated. Once he won that case, Muhammad Ali said he's returning to boxing so he can make more money. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad stripped him of his name for returning to boxing to make money. He says, Mr. Muhammad, let me turn this on. I hope that's not too bright. He says, Mr. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, had been preaching to the black man here in America that Allah would give him money, good homes, and friendship in all walks of life. Mr. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, did not seem to care anything about what Allah God promised, nor that Allah God has the power to back up his word. He, Cassius Clay, is asking them to let him come back for the sake of a little money. Now, of course, that little money is a lot of money to us. It's the money that put him in that Rolls Royce. But it's the money that took him away from Islam and his teacher, because he was seeking money. And while Allah promised a promise, we in the Nation of Islam, different from the rappers. We not rappers. They got a different name. We were given a promise, and we were given a duty. We have to do our duty and have faith that the promise will come to us. When we don't do that, we become like the Jews who founded Israel. This is what I mean by that, Brother Ben. When we chase the bag instead of work to earn the promise of Allah, and we use the promise of Allah as justification for chasing the bag, we are like the Jews who founded the state of Israel. What do I mean by that? Then I'll close on this point. What do I mean by that? Remember the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan's famous, from their perspective, infamous words of 1985. He said this. That created that hailstorm. He said, now that nation called Israel never has had any peace in 40 years, and she will never have any peace, because there can be no peace structured on injustice, thievery, lying, and deceit, and using the name of God to shield your dirty religion. What was the dirty religion? Not Judaism. The dirty religion is this, Brother Ben, which I know you know, but the audience should know. The scripture promises the Jews reestablishment in their homeland. It absolutely does. So the Jews were not wrong for longing to be reestablished in the homeland. That was a promise that God made with the Jews. But the scripture says when the Messiah comes, he will lead them into their homeland. So the Jews were required to wait on the Messiah to come to fulfill his promise to them. But instead, the Jews could not have patience with God. So the Jews went ahead and using corrupt means, by hook and by crook, they took the land and use the promise of God to shield their dirty religion. We Muslim followers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad don't want to be that. The promise that God made to us is a real promise, but we don't want to participate in dirty religion, engaging in that which a desire for the wealth of this world will inspire us to engage in, and then justify that with the promise that Allah made to us. We got to be careful not to do that. Our aim is not the money. Our aim is being ourselves and the resurrection of the dead. If we came to the Nation of Islam, then we took that duty and that burden on ourselves. That's our priority. Those who did not come this way, they may have money as their priority, but that cannot be the priority of those of us who came here. We want it, and we are right to want it. And any of us who is blessed to have it, we should only say, Allahu Akbar, and keep working our mathematical theology. But we should never make money the object of our people's religion. That's dirty religion.
Yes, sir. Beautiful breakdown. I want to share a few clip audios of the minister and go back to problem number 13 and get your analysis on it. Yes. Here's the first clip. The minister is speaking on wealth, because you just mentioned wealth not too long ago. So the minister is speaking about wealth right here.
The question is, how do you define wealth? Is wealth your ability to go to the store and buy a garment, some shoes, a car, a flat screen TV? Is that really wealth? Wealth does not start from access to material things. Wealth starts with your possession of knowledge. If we don't possess knowledge that guides us into how to create wealth, then we'll talk about wealth, but we'll never have it because we don't have the requisite knowledge that would allow us to be a creator of wealth.
Okay, so that's the first clip. Now this second clip, the minister, this is an older lecture. That first one was he was talking about black economics with Dr. Boyce Watkins. I forgot the name of this lecture right here, but it goes into what he was saying about the knowledge, because right here he says the only reason we don't have money in our pocket is because we're not using the word. So here's this clip here.
But you are rich. We are rich. If you don't have a lot of money in your physical pocket, it is only because you have not learned how to use the word to get that which you need to subsist in this life. But you are rich, and you will become poor and poorer if you cast aside that word, that teaching, that discipline that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad established among us. And I say this to all of the Muslims: don't get slack. Don't get slack. Don't go back into the world like you are confused. But you are.
So that's that. Now we heard the minister use the word. If we don't know how to use the word to get what's needed, which made me think about problem number 13 here, which you mentioned in the beginning. It says, after learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam is mathematics, it stands true. You can always prove it at no limited time. Then he says, then you must learn to use it and secure some benefit while you are living. That is luxury money, good homes, friendship in all walks of life. So what does that mean when the minister is saying it's because we don't know how to use the word? And then what does it mean here when it's saying you must learn how to use it to get some benefit while you live?
Excellent. Excellent clips. Excellent question. The word in the quote from the minister is the same as the mathematical theology in the problem book. Now, we have to use we Muslims. Our path to the promise of Allah is very critical. Our path to the promise of Allah. Money, luxury, money, good homes, friendship, and all walks of life. The so-called Negro, let's use the hip-hop artists. They about the bag. They have their process to get luxury, money, good homes, and friendship in all walks of life. And their process involves or can at least accommodate a whole lot of hook and crook. But our mathematical theology is not, Brother Ben, it is not opening this book, or let me say it differently. It is not simply opening this book of supreme wisdom, studying the words, plumbing it, and using it in a way that allows me to make some money. The mathematical theology is the lifestyle prescribed by the author of that book, the author of the mathematical theology. It's a theology because you God. Theos, God. So as God, your mathematical theology, my mathematical theology is the way, the total way brought by Master Fard Muhammad. So it's that way and that duty that if we apply it, if we live the life, if we do the duty, then that will enable us to have or secure benefits for ourselves. That is a very different path than the so-called Negro who chases the bag. Because our mathematical theology, Brother Ben, has a whole lot of thou shalt nots. Chasing the bag culture ain't got no thou shalt nots. Another example of, you want an illustration of what it looks like. And I ask, can I offer a negative illustration of what it looks like?
So for example, to make it clear for that, it's not opening up the message to the black man, quoting it, getting money. It's learning how to use it, meaning Islam, that mathematical theology, that lifestyle, and by living that lifestyle, we will bring it. And I would say, and it, if you agree, an example would be get with 60 and message to the back man, get with 6 to 8 like-minded individuals, come together, pool your resources and do something for yourself. So not necessarily using the word per se in exchange for the money, but his way of what he taught us how to go out and get it is an
that's a perfect segue to what I was going to say, because I wanted to go back to the Black Muslim entrepreneur. Perfect example. We are encouraged, we Muslim followers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we're encouraged to be entrepreneurs. Get together with like-minded persons and establish business. Politics without economics is symbol without substance, the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan says. This is the difference between the two cultures that I'm enumerating. So 6 of us, we established a restaurant, and it's in the black part of town. We didn't establish this restaurant for it to not make money. We want to feed the community, but we didn't do this to lose money or to not make money. We did it to feed the people and to make money. A situation arose. So many black Muslim restaurant owners find themselves often in this valley of decisions. And I know of cases that went both ways. They got shrimp on the menu. They got catfish on the menu. Why? Because that's the money maker. They got tilapia on the menu. Why? Because the customer base in this area that we are servicing, that's what they like. And that's what they're going to spend their money on. So my aim now is money. Or if my aim is money, then I got to do a calculation. I'm not making no money selling salmon, not in this zip code. I'm just breaking even. And really, the future doesn't look well for me. I got to make a decision. If I add shrimp to my menu, if I add tilapia to my menu, the Negro likes his tilapia. That poisonous fish. If I add it to the menu, if I add catfish to the menu, then I can sustain this business financially. The Muslim cannot do that. The Muslim, if the objective is the bag, if money is the objective, then the calculus says we can sell shrimp, even though we know our people should not be eating shrimp, should not be eating catfish. So we made a financial decision that violated our culture. That's an example of the distinction between chasing the bag versus the fulfillment of the promise of Allah. We got to know that if we resist the temptation to hook and crook, whether it's rhyme or crime, nigga, I got to get mine. If we resist that and have faith that Allah's promise will be fulfilled, even if we got to migrate to another business. But I know Muslims who made the calculus and sold the shrimp and the catfish and the tilapia. And I know Muslims who refused to. Some, their business maintained. Some, their restaurant went under. But there was only one option for us. The Negro can contemplate that and be like, you know what? The rules of getting money means this is what this consumer base eats. If I provide it to them like a drug dealer, that's how they justify. What I'm saying, Brother Ben, our mathematical theology that God invites us to use to secure benefits to ourselves has a whole bunch of restrictions connected to it, meaning a whole bunch of things we absolutely cannot do in order to secure benefits for ourselves. And if we do it, we may secure the benefit, but it puts us out of favor with Allah. the state of Israel exists today. And it's the most powerful, one of the most powerful nations on the earth, as little as it is. But it was created, inspired by a real promise that Allah made to them, but they didn't want to wait for. So they hooked and crooked and established the state of Israel, and it is successful, but God will destroy it. The same with us. My last comment. A white reporter asked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about these Muslims that were robbing banks. Because, you know, in the history of the Nation of Islam, we got bag chasers. Those who, by rhyme or by crime, they were going to get this. And so you had these bank robbers, and a white reporter asked the messenger, well, what do you say? The messenger said they aren't followers of mine. The reporter said, well, according to our information, they are registered in so-and-so temple. Messenger said, they are no followers of mine. It don't matter that they were registered in the nation. It don't matter that they were a minister, a captain, or a lieutenant. They were getting the bag through hook or crook. So they are no followers of his. So that's the difference, dear brother Ben and audience. The difference between chasing the bag culture and the promise of Allah is the promise of Allah can be pursued in very restricted ways. Whereas chasing the bag, no holds barred. So the minister's words just 3 days ago, money should not be our objective. I'm sorry, I said the last, but I mentioned the government. I mentioned the executive council and corruption. I want to finish that thought. I want to leave that hanging out there. The devil wants to corrupt the government of the Nation of Islam. It's new. It's a novelty in the nation. So every one of us is liable for corruption. And so Satan will dangle. Satan will learn any unfulfilled desire that any of us have, and he will dangle that in front of each of us to corrupt us individually and collectively. If the bag is my objective, then I am vulnerable to corruption. So the minister said money should not be your aim. That's the issue. Money isn't the problem, but making money our aim is the problem. Because once money is our aim, then Satan, who's the master and the maker of the money, Satan has a door into us.
I'm glad you ended on that, because I was going to end with this tweet from the minister. The minister was asked June 26, 2012, Assalamu alaikum, how can we tell when we got something that was sent from Allah and not the devil? The minister answers, whatever comes from God is free of that kind of string that will cause you to compromise your righteousness to attain it. So what I hear and what you shared is, it's nothing wrong with getting it. Don't seek it, and don't compromise our way of devotion. Don't compromise our principles. Don't compromise yourself or the teaching to go out and get it. But other than that, You know, it's
The 2 points again. Yes, the way that one acquires the bag separates the righteous from the unrighteous. But also, again, the bag cannot be the objective. That's critical. Because once the bag is the objective, then ways open up to us. And so the first point is the bag can't be the objective. 2, again, time dictates agenda. Verb subject agreement is imperative. And right now, the time that we are in is the time of famine. So what we need to be teaching our people is how to fast. Fasting is going to get us through the time of famine, not ambitions of feasting. We want Allah to bless us today and tomorrow with all that we can have. The Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan instructed his council, Brother Ben. We making plans to expand the nation, right? Property and things. He told us, plan to survive. Had all these big plans. Plan to survive. Don't plan to feast. Plan to get through the famine. So we need to show our people need to see Allah's blessing to us. And we have to help our people manage our legitimate desire and guard against creating unfulfilling desires. And we have to teach our people how to fast. Food and opulence. That is what the time dictates today.
Yes, sir. Man, this has been a beautiful discussion. I think a lot of context was given. If you will, as we close, not of course the full list, but can you give us some guidance on what it means to plan to survive? For example, I know the minister always teach us 6 months unperishable foods. 6 months have your water. We've seen the lectures, you know, we always repost, especially when times like this come, reminder, hey, get your Navy beans, get your unperishable foods. But what else can we do to plan to survive outside of those two things? Or is that specifically what he was talking about?
No, it's the whole, and that's a great question because it's a very important point. Of course, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad made available to us a survivor's list and kit. And it's available to all. You don't have to be a Muslim. All Black people should have it. So we have that. But plan to survive absolutely goes beyond the list of things, of food items we should store in our pantry. Plan to survive means getting control of my desires so that unfulfilled desires don't give Satan a doorway. That means that, so like he told us during COVID, the food was out there. But he told us, eat simple. Not that there weren't steaks and all of that out there, but he said, eat simple. If we plan to survive, we want the Gucci belt, but we have to get our mind to the point where that ain't what we tripping on. We want to get to the other side of the famine alive. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said 4, possibly 5 mosques have to stay open. What does famine look like? It looked like that. We got over 100 mosques and study groups. But we're entering a period where we got to do all that we can do to maintain at least the 4. That's famine. So how do we plan to survive? We need to plan to get the nation through this hour with the possibility of only 4 mosques operating. So that means all of our planning, all of our strategizing considers the time of famine, not the time of feast. When our mosques across the nation, the doors were busting open with hundreds and hundreds of newcomers. That's feast. We're in famine. And the famine is going to get more secure. So everything in our personal life, planning to survive, means that we got to get used to what we need to survive on all levels. Not just what's in our pantry, but what's in our closet, what's in our driveway. That's planning to survive, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother Dr. Wesley. That was all the questions that I had. I haven't seen any questions. A lot of great feedback. I'm sure as you go back and read the comments, you're going to see a lot of great feedback. A lot of clarity was given. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with? I know you probably done gave us everything, but is there anything you would like to leave us with as we close dealing with this topic or the condition that we in the time that we in?
When I see you, Brother Ben, I see you sharing your gift, and I see you sharing the word of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when I see that, I'm happy to see Allah's blessing on you. And I think all of us, we should always celebrate when Allah blesses each and every one of us for successfully using our gift. I pray that Allah continues to bless you with success. I don't want you to have less success. I want you to have more success. I want every Muslim follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to have your success and more. And then the world will see that we have the formula of success, the Islam of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which means the teaching and the life. So with that, I thank you, Brother Ben. I love you. Keep up the great work. And assalamu alaikum to your.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, sir. Look forward to having you back next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's do it. Wa alaikum salam.
All right, family. There it is, man. Man, this is a beautiful podcast, man. I think that there's a lot to parse and get from this podcast. A lot of great clarity that was given. Words shared from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as well. So I hope someone was, enlightened educated from this podcast. I thank everybody who shared the podcast. Thank everybody who's been commenting. Even the brother in the comment section tripping. Man, stop tripping, man. Go on, get it together. You know you too old to be doing all that down there in the comment section. You know, go on ahead and quit acting like that. Go on, sit down, get you one of them bean pies. You know, and let's unite together. We ain't trying to beef with y'all over there. You know, you talking about we stealing your words. Listen. We ain't doing all that. We uniting with our people. Okay. So listen, man, I'm going to end this. I thank y'all for watching. Make sure y'all subscribe to the new YouTube channel. Y'all know they get my YouTube channel every 2 years, man. So they didn't got my old YouTube channel about 3-4 months ago. I recreated the YouTube channel. So go back and subscribe to Brother Ben X Podcast if you haven't already. For those who are wondering, I am having the digital real estate webinar this Sunday, inshallah. And I know some of y'all think digital real estate is just all about money. But it's actually not. You're going to run into the teachings. Actually, I'm talking about the minister directly when you get inside the program. And if you want a testimony, I'll end with a testimony to show you guys it's not selling homes online. It's not selling houses. It's none of that. It's really helping people discover what their gift is and go impact people, which will lead to the income, which actually I have a quote that I'm kind of famous for. It says, don't focus on passive income. Focus on passive impact, because the more people you impact, the more income will come. Thank you all again for tuning in to the Brother Ben X Podcast. See you guys next time.
Brother Ben, that piece you did where you was talking about the gift and how would God feel, or how would a person feel if you gave them a Christmas gift and they came back 6 years later and that gift wasn't open? Then how does God feel giving us all these gifts and we won't develop them? So to my sister, I appreciate that question, because there's something that I'm hearing in every class, that the central thing that Ben does is it's in you. What I have is I'm showing you how God helped me pull my gift out. I'm going to take what I got, and you take it. I'm going to help you pull your gift. He pointed right back to you. Each question, every time we ask him a question, he said, well, how you going to do it? Well, what is it? Because it's in us. So thank you, Brother Ben, because you really have re-inspired me to look back at those gifts and say, man, I don't want to take that last breath and have all this and be like, damn, it stayed up under the Christmas tree. My whole damn life wrapped. So thank you, brother. You've been a great catalyst.
Thank you.
Start. And the beautiful part of what you said, I'm not going to preach, is you were saying every one of us born in the universe got it. Yes. So sister, I appreciate that, because that gift of whatever you went through, you don't know how many lives that might touch across the planet. So I'm thankful, Brother Ben, for you having this platform to help me see that in myself and work hard to bring it out, because it ain't gonna happen from no mystery. It's gonna take work and knowledge. And I think I'm in the right place with the right tool, with a gifted brother and your team to help me bring those gifts out. I appreciate you, brother.
All praise is due to Allah. So that's one of the students that's in the digital real estate program. So again, man, it's centered around gifts, helping us discover what God has put inside of us so that we can go impact others. If y'all interested in that webinar, it's going to be a free webinar that I'm doing this Sunday. Text the word webinar to 214-884-4644. Text the word, just the word by itself, webinar, to 214-884-4644. And before I go, if you're on YouTube, I want y'all to comment, who do y'all want me to bring on next on the podcast? And what is the topic that y'all want us to talk about? I'm trying to get that podcast back rocking and rolling on a consistent basis. Who do y'all want me to bring on the podcast? Okay. And what's the topic? I got to get my big brother, Malik Muhammad, on. I haven't had him. Well, I have posted him within a couple of years, but I'm talking about a podcast with us, an interview podcast to talk about family and, what he's been able to do with his family and, you know, just building as a man, things of that nature, especially during this pandemic. You know, I'm seeing a lot of these videos go viral about, yeah, I'm seeing all kind of stuff. I know he be laughing like a mug when he see him, but that's a brother that eventually I want to have on the podcast as well, maybe to talk about relationships. But who do y'all want me to have on next? And what is the topic that you all want us to discuss? Thank you all for listening. Assalamu alaikum. Have a blacktastic night.